I would say maybe within a year, certainly within 24 months, the banks will be custodying Bitcoin and potentially even selling Bitcoin. Right now, we have about 325,000 Bitcoin per year get created. Okay. Now we have the US saying they would buy up to 200,000. We have Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy said that they plan to buy 42 billion over the next 3 years. Now, we don't know what the price will be in 2 or 3 years from now, but let's just take it at face value where we're at today. That means that Michael Saylor buying 42 billion just at today's current price is about 175,000 Bitcoin per year. So over half of the supply. Then you add in another 200,000 from the US. Now you're looking at more than all Bitcoin being created.
Now you're bringing up central banks. What we, should be doing over the next 4 years, I would agree. High likelihood we're going to see this Bitcoin strategic reserve advance. Might even be able to get to 1 million coins in 5 years. I want to ask you, what about the next step? If the next administration, likely Vance, just kind of speculate here. Say the Republicans lose the ticket in 2028. Are you worried about the U.S. government market selling that strategic reserve of Bitcoin? What do you think that would do to the price?
I hadn't really thought of that, so that's interesting. A way to think about that. I would say that has a very low probability. Everything is possible. I think the probability of that happening would be extremely low, and here's why. I think number one, to your point, we'll see how things shake out. But you mentioned maybe a Vance taking the position next. So if the Republicans hold office, that wouldn't happen. But let's say that we went back to a blue coalition and they took this very aggressive anti-Bitcoin crypto stance. I still don't think they would sell it and dump it in the market to crash the market. And here's why I would say that. It's the same reason why I don't think BlackRock would. So a lot of people are scared because BlackRock has now acquired, over 1% of the Bitcoin supply. And so they say, but BlackRock could just manipulate the price now. And I'm like, they could, but let's think through this rationally, right? So you have to understand psychology and incentive systems and things like this. So let's think about this rationally. BlackRock wants the Bitcoin ETF because they make money from the Bitcoin ETF. And they only make money from the Bitcoin ETF if people buy the Bitcoin ETF. And people only buy the Bitcoin ETF if the price is going up or expected to go up. So if they intentionally crash the price, they would be intentionally wrecking their entire business model. Now, the US, if they're holding onto a strategic reserve of this, they could say we no longer need the reserve. But I think history showed this. Precedents like the strategic oil reserve, for example, shows that they're at least responsible with the way they ease it into the market to not have too much slippage and crash the price. Because if they had whatever at that time, a couple $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin, whatever it is, $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin, they could just dump it all. But the slippage would cause that $1 trillion to then be whatever, $500 billion. And so even if the policy would be reversed, and even if they wanted to get rid of the Bitcoin, I would imagine game theory, incentives, they would do it in a way that wouldn't crash the market. Otherwise, again, they're wrecking their entire business model, their budget.
The easiest way for you to get wrecked in crypto is to lose all your funds. Whether it's an exchange going down, an exploit, or just a hack, make sure you protect your crypto with Arculus Cold Storage. We love it here at the channel. And if you use code DC20, you can save yourself 20%. Protect yourself out there. Because just last year alone, hackers stole almost $2 billion from users out there. Do not let it be you. Protect your funds. And not only can you protect, you can buy, swap, send, and receive crypto with a single tap and hold. Go get yourself an Arculus now. All right, let's switch gears and zoom in a little bit on the strategic reserve. I can share this article, Isaac. Pennsylvania House now introducing a bill to implement a strategic Bitcoin reserve on the state level. And just kind of looking at some of the facts here, 10% of the roughly $7 billion in state funds are going to be moving into Bitcoin. What are your thoughts of the Pennsylvania experiment here? And can we see a domino effect?
Yeah, we're certainly going to see a domino effect. And this is the beauty of the United States. The United States is not a democracy. Let's get that clear. We are a constitutional republic. And the key to this is really it's a decentralized form of government, right? So all 50 states are supposed to be independent. But the beauty of this is that it allows us to then try and test different things. So we can see the blue states are failing and those policies are failing, like California, a blue state, went from a $100 billion surplus to a $60 billion deficit. They're just getting wrecked with the highest taxes and so forth. And then other nations with no taxes are able to stay within their budgets. And so we see these experiments playing out in real time. And this is one of those experiments. So we've seen already multiple states have passed laws to, for example, enshrine rights to mine Bitcoin. So as like New York has tried to be aggressive and ban Bitcoin mining, other states like Montana have said, no, you have a right to mine Bitcoin in Montana. Other states now have put other bills in place that guarantee your right to custody Bitcoin. And now the Pennsylvania one is now the potentially to put Bitcoin on the reserve balance of the state. And so certainly we're seeing this play out in multiple states in different ways. And if it works really well for Pennsylvania, like we hope it certainly does, then of course it's going to influence, back to that game theory, it will start to influence what the other states do. And it'll be highly contagious. Now, my guess, the red states probably go with that because they like to have a balanced budget and have a surplus. And the blue states probably continue to wreck themselves. But that's another topic. But I certainly do think this is the start of something really big. I think it's going to happen at the federal level. I mean, let's just talk about it at the federal level for a second. So, number one, RFK ran on this platform and laid out a very detailed plan of exactly how he wanted to do it. He didn't win the presidency, but he folded in with Trump, who also ran on about the same platform. So we have two people who see eye to eye that are now together that want to do this. But more importantly, Senator Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming has already submitted the bill. Like, it's already going through the House. And we know that with a red House and Senate, and then obviously with Trump in presidency, it has a high chance of going through and getting signed. And even if it were to fail, we'll probably get another one that will go through. They're saying originally Senator Lummis said that she wanted to get it through within 100 days of Trump taking the presidency. Now they're saying it needs to go through even faster, potentially up to 30 days after. And I think it's going to happen on a federal level. And then every state will probably just move right into it.
That's all we got. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you folks next week.